Hi, welcome to Resonant Electronics. Today we are going to take you through a demo of our energy management solution, which is a combination of hardware that is installed on site, which collects the data, and then this data gets aggregated on a cloud server, and then you are able to analyze and reduce your energy bills through this completely IoT-based energy monitoring solution. Resonant solution has two parts: the edge gateways, which are responsible for gathering data from all your energy meters, water meters, sensors, or any other equipments inside a building. And then that data is sent to a Resonant cloud server where data is analyzed in a completely IoT based secure solution. This is a photograph of the Resonant cellular gateway. As you can see, there is a SIM card slot in which SIM card is inserted. This screen provides you with online on-site visual feedback about the network conditions and the reading of the sensors or the energy meters if there are any faults. There is an antenna that can be attached for 4G LTE. This is a 4G LTE product. And on top, there is a DB9 connector. From here, we connect all your energy meters in a specific case. Let's have a look at the deployment diagram, a typical deployment diagram. This is a typical deployment diagram where we start with a single rush device. We start with installing one device, for example, on your premises, and these are the options that are available with us. These gateways can either operate on 4G LTE, they can use Wi-Fi, or they can use LAN, depending on available networking conditions. Now, on the right side of this diagram, you can see how this Resonant hardware, this Resonant gateway, connects to your various appliances which are available in your building. These are the various protocols that you can see in the center. Modbus TCP/IP or Modbus is the most prevalent of all. We can also use BACnet. We can use 4 to 20 milliampere, 0 to 10 volt DC, or OPC UA. These are the protocols or options available. Multiple connectivity to connect to your energy meters, solar panels, VFDs, motors, water meters, LT panels, wind panels, or if you have any PLCs or any other kind of assets of multiple brands or various categories in your premises. So we'll take an example of an LT panel. In case of energy meters, typically when a high tension wire comes in, it is distributed through the LT panel, and LT panel has a lot of meters. So one single rush device can be connected up to 16 energy meters in a LT panel. A single cable goes and it loops through all the energy meters, and then we have our online tools which can immediately start capturing data, and this wiring can be done swiftly. Sometimes it only takes a day to do the whole wiring, or maximum 2 days, 3 days. And then once the wiring is done, within a few minutes, we start getting the entire data online. So how is the data sent to the server? Now we look at the left side. The data, depending on whether it is 4G LTE, Wi-Fi, or LAN-based Resonant device, it uses these three various mechanisms and sends data to Resonant Cloud, from where users can access all the required data and start analyzing their energy footprints. Now we will take you through our online website where data is captured and analyzed. So the hardware part is covered. So this is a typical example of our online system of energy management. These are various dashboards we'll take you through. So the first dashboard is the moment LT panel is wired, we start getting data of what is the latest reading, what is the kVAH, what is the average power factor, as per your panel configuration with whatever friendly names are there as per your panel nameplates. Setting energy conservation goals. So our system basically has 3 steps. As you can see, set energy conservation goals. The first step is to identify where and how much energy is getting consumed. Without identifying the footprints of energy consumption of your distribution panel, we cannot reduce the energy consumption. So the first step is to know where is the energy consumption happening and how much is it happening. After that, once we have identified, the second step is to analyze, to see exactly on a time basis, on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis, how that energy is getting consumed through the day. What are the peaks? What are the peak slots in which this energy is really getting consumed? And then we set targets that we should reduce that energy consumption in certain days, in certain time slots. We should reduce the average energy consumed per hour, per day, per area, etc. So, and this cycle continues. We target one area at a time. So it's a continuous cycle, and it also changes on a seasonal basis. So I'll take you through one of such processes here. The first is, of course, to identify. So we click on identify. So we click on identify, and immediately we see this kind of a graph. Let us make it easier. So let us look at last 7 days of data, for example. And here we see that, for example, 23rd of November, this is the energy consumption pattern. The total of 3,800 units are consumed on November 23rd November, and this is the distribution of 3,872 units. So we can see how it is getting distributed, and this yellow line is of course standing out. Then the green line, the pink line, and other lines are standing out. So we clearly are able to now started to see how our energy is getting distributed on a day-to-day basis, and we start concentrating on only those areas which we first want to target for reduction of energy. So this tool gives us the flexibility to focus only in areas of our interest. So we have identified, okay, so these are the three areas that come to focus: cost 2, RMC1, RMC1FD. These are some area names, for example. So we go back, and then the next step is to analyze. So we look at analysis, and here now we select our filter, which is, we know that we want to analyze cost 2. So we selected cost 2. Now in cost 2, as the data starts to come in, we also maintain yearly, monthly, daily, hourly energy consumption. Now quickly we can look at within November, these are some of the daily energy consumption patterns, how energy is changing, how it is moving from high to low, or what are the different patterns we are able to observe. And we are able to pick up something which is at a high and compare it with something which is at a low. And then we are able to, for example, see on 5th and 18th of November, 2 particular days, how this energy is changing. We can see that 7 p.m. typically 20 units are getting consumed more. Why is that? So we get a tool to discuss with the team that why certain energy consumption is happening more at times. And now we are able to analyze that on an average, it sits around 1200 units per day. So we can try and now reduce it to, for example, 1100 units per day. That can be a target that we may want to set for the next few months to save energy. So here we are able to drill down and analyze in a particular area what are the energy consumption trends, when is the energy more, when is the energy less, what are the time zones in which energy consumption needs to be attacked and reduced. So this is the analysis part. So very quickly then later in the next stage is of course to set our targets. So in setting the targets, again we select in our preferences, we select cost 2 as the area, and in the daily targets we set 1165. We know that the average is around 1294 units per day, and we try to reduce it to 1165. This is the target we want to set. So here we set the target, and clearly we know that energy is right now not as per our target. Only one particular day it has been on target, other days it has been not been on target. Cost is not on target. Similarly, there are other things like power factor, max demand. If we are not able to meet the target, then what should happen? So here we have this option that if targets are not being met, then we can set up these energy goals. Like we can set up emailing or notification on apps or SMS. We can also trigger, if you have installed Resonant automation products, then you can also trigger automation, for example, switching off certain air conditioning in common areas or certain alternate lights. Many other automation or options are also available to reduce automatically the consumption. Or if you have not installed our automation products, then your team members get notification so that they are able to manage this energy, balance it out through the day. So notifications like max demand or thresholds being crossed, daily thresholds has been crossed, these kind of notifications start to come in. And there's a ticketing system by which tickets are raised. Whenever a ticket is raised, there are multiple levels and those levels, for example, in this max demand level, in level 1, a particular user is sent an email. If within 60 minutes the user doesn't take any action, then another level can be added, which is level 2, and the issue can be escalated to the next level, so that by the time it reaches the higher management level, there is some flow of actions that should have already been performed. So using this mechanism that we have, wherein Resonant product gateway is installed to capture the data, that data is then brought on to the server, and on the server side we have a 3-step mechanism, which is identify, analyze, and target energy, power factor, and similarly any other asset categories like water management, renewable energy management, solar management, and any other CO2, air quality. All these parameters can be managed in a very similar way in our system, and so therefore we are able to reduce a good amount of energy. Minimum 10% we have observed in most of our customer cases, and if the customers are really using the system properly, it can go up to 30%. Up to 30% of energy is saved through this system, which is extremely reasonable, completely Indian, manufactured in India, award winning, 5,000 various installations in energy space, including EV, solar, BMS, building management, industrial control systems, Airports Authority of India, and many other places. So thanks again for gluing in. Thanks again for listening to this entire demo. And please feel free to take your questions with our business partners, and shall be happy to answer all your queries further. Thanks. My name is Anubhav from Resonant Electronics.